Welcome back to the United Pubcast, the official Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney for your Friday night pint. Larry is a little bit under the weather, so probably not having a pint, but obviously joined by regular as well, Borche from the football capital. Make sure you do go check his work out. But I'll start with you, Larry, at the top of the screen with me. How are we feeling on this Friday night?
Felt better, Tom. Felt better. As you can probably hear through my voice, I haven't got much legs in the throat, so I'm going to need you gents to carry me. Think of me as Harry Maguire. I got Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes with me. You're going to drag us to the 4-3 result and forget about the 3 goals I've put in our own net.
Okay, Borche, who's Bruno and who's Ronaldo?
That's a good question, eh? I don't know.
I thought you were just going to say I'm Erik Ten Hag, Larry, or have you used that one too often?
Well, I mean, you're the manager.
I'm the manager. Oh, cheers.
You know, I had to.
You might have me as Bruno just running around clueless.
Well, that is a bit of the theme of a Friday night pint. We'll just sort of wing it. We'll sort of bounce off ideas in the live chat and topics. So if you are in the live chat, do let us know if anything does break, because it is that time of year where transfer news can sort of break in regards to Lissandro Martinez, Frenkie de Jong, which we'll get into. But I will say good day to everyone in the live chat. Kick things off. Josh, good to see you, mate. We'll be touring down in Melbourne with us in a week, or less than a week for me. We'll be at the pub this time next week. I'm going down on the Wednesday, so Thursday night at the Crafty Squire, the Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney and Perth and Brisbane. They'll all be there at the Crafty Squire on Thursday night. So if you do get down there the day early, come join us there. Dion, good to see you, mate. Ian, good mate from Perth, will be travelling with us as well. Hit the like button. That's very nice of you, Ian. Thank you for that. Adam, good to see you. Justin from the Supporters Club as well. And Rob, obviously, from It's a Football Thing, 1 week to go. On that, okay, we're all talking about the pre-season tour, Larry. Here we are. We're a week out from arriving in Melbourne. The Man United players are a couple of hours out from flying away to Bangkok. And there's obviously got a big thing in regards to, okay, who's going to be on the plane? We'll get into the Ronaldo thing. Obviously, he's not going to be on there. The club have confirmed that. But is there any sort of big news you would want to see or don't want to see in regards to this tour announcement?
Mate, announce Frenkie de Jong's going to be meeting us in Melbourne. How about that? That's the news we all really want to hear. This transfer saga is turning out to be so boring. I don't know about you guys. It almost reeks of Cesc Fabregas in Moyes' first season, doesn't it? It's just going to drag on, and then we'll end up getting some B choice option.
Well, I was listening to Emad last night. Emad, obviously a good mate of the podcast, and Man Cave United, and he was talking, and just like, it's nothing against Frenkie de Jong. It's just the situation that has come up now. I just don't want him anymore. It's just boring. And the way it is going, I'm starting to doubt the club can get this over the line. So, yes, I welcome the player, but Borche, I'm along those lines now of, yes, if he comes here, I'll be holding up a Frenkie de Jong shirt, of course. But at the moment, I'm just feeling, just get on, move on. Next target, please.
Nah, I'm the other way around, guys. If this is Ten Hag's number one target, even if it goes to deadline day, push as hard as you can to get him. Look, if he's come out and said definitely he doesn't fancy a move away from Barcelona, if he's happy to take the reductions and all that sort of stuff, then that's when you expect the club to just move on to the next target if there is in that position. But if this guy's his number one target, no matter how long it takes, you get him in. Because if that's gonna be if he's gonna build around De Jong for the next 3-4 years. Hopefully maybe 5 or longer, then you need to get him in. There's no point of name me another a second choice that comes in and plays for 4 or 5 years.
Well, what I'd say to that, Borche, though, and look, I like the thinking and tend to agree. However, take Ronaldo and Messi out of a discussion, because obviously they're two separate players in terms of their prime. A player like Frenkie de Jong, should we be building a team around one player? I understand the importance one player can have, but how important is that to surely? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily building just around him, but I think he's one of the main pieces in the jigsaw for Ten Hag, and I think with the players that he's going to bring around him, obviously links, and we'll probably talk about it with Martinez there. Now, whether he comes in that DM role or he plays centre back. They're in and around, and then you got a player just in front of him. Let's just say they get someone like Anthony. Don't forget Donny van der Beek. That link-up play that Ajax maybe call, it's all linked around De Jong. So just in terms of that transfer, if he really wants him and there's actual interest from the club and they're saying, look, we're going to go even if it takes the deadline day, I don't mind waiting, to be honest, especially on this one, because if someone else can name me a better option at the moment that's available and happy to leave and come to a project like Man United, then yeah, maybe move along. But at the moment, we don't see anyone else. To be honest, I don't know anyone else that
Yeah.
comes in to fit that role. That's the hardest thing. Like this transfer window, even for other clubs, it's hard to find that one player, or especially with us, that one piece of the puzzle. Obviously, we need like the whole new squad, but it's just hard to pick. Oh, this player that plays.
I think that's where you look at a club like, well, I hate using the word strive to be like, but strive to be like a Liverpool or Manchester City. They have all their ducks in a row, and you think, well, it wasn't hard for them to go find their one piece in a Darwin Núñez or Erling Haaland, because they have everything in place.
That's right.
Finding one player is quite easy.
Over the years, they've already built that squad. So when Liverpool just bring this one player in, it's no big deal. City bring one or two players in to freshen up the squad. It's no big deal because everyone around there is still has been there for a few years, and that's why if De Jong comes in for the next couple of years, that's when you start building around him as well in the next couple of years. But yeah, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not bored of the transfer rumors. I'm not bored of the saga around De Jong. I find it a bit interesting. I love the transfer window. It never gets old for me. With 1 minute this player's going here, next minute he's holding the shirt for one club and he signs for someone else. You gotta love that drama.
Well, the interesting part of this, which is turning into the interesting part, Larry, Adam brings it up here. The only thing holding the transfer up is that the Barcelona, the 15 million or potentially 15, 17 million, whatever, in wages is teeing that up. Look, who knows what the actual issue is in around there? That does seem to be a bit of a stumbling block. Could United, if Borche's saying the demand is Erik ten Hag's main man, could United do the right thing about that? And look, this would be extreme, but ultimately we've got to sort of reach extreme levels to reach success in terms of the position we're in. Let's say Frenkie de Jong is waiting for the 15 million from Barcelona. If Man United say, okay, hang on, you want a 15 million signing on fee? There's your wages from Barcelona. We'll pay it for them. And I'm just thinking, can United get this over the line no matter what Barcelona's troubles are, if United sort of take it out of their hands?
Well, United shouldn't need to pay Frenkie de Jong wages that Barcelona owe him. The concern for me here is the deadline actually needs to be Frenkie de Jong that gets this deal over the line. He can't be holding United up in terms of. We also have to keep remembering here, this is Erik ten Hag's first season in charge. He needs time with these players on the training pitch, because once we're into the thick of the season, this is a season like no other. Quickly, you're going to be having 2 games from the second week in. You're having 2 games a week. So the time on the pitch is paramount. He needs his players in. And if Frenkie de Jong is the key signing, then he needs to get that player in. And it's up to Frenkie now to say, what's more important to you, mate? Is it about the money that you may or may not get because Barcelona are probably going to be insolvent in 2 years' time? Or are you focused on playing for Manchester United? He needs to decide. It's haggling over the past, or it's about the rest of his career.
But Larry, it's hard. It's hard. We're talking 15 million. It's like it's not like it's 15 million that he would have got if he stayed. It's 50 million that they owe him, and it's
I hear you, my issue would be with his lawyer or whoever it is who's negotiated the contract. Then, it shouldn't be like we're talking about professional football at the highest level. Surely something like this doesn't
one of the biggest clubs. Yeah, one of the biggest clubs as well. And yeah, you're right, man. I get what you mean. You're right. It's just so weird. Like Barcelona in this situation, they just signed. I know Kessie was on a free and Christensen on a free, but they're still have to pay these guys wages as well. They've announced them in the kits and everything.
And they're willing to pay 40 million for Lewandowski, yet they can't pay a player who they owe 13 million. It's outrageous.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I want to touch on and sort of move on to Martinez, because that does look like it's not, I wouldn't say concrete, but potentially more concrete news in regards to a bid going in for him. So we'll touch on that in a little bit, but I want to get the Ronaldo discussion out of the way, because here we are, another day, another Ronaldo discussion. That's what we are as Man United fans. But the football crew here saying, what are your thoughts on the new home show, which we sort of touched on last week, because obviously it was due out last week. We touched on them, but Ronaldo being a model for the kit launch, is that anything, Borche? That's just these photos, I assume, were done probably back in January, February. United are contractually obliged to use Ronaldo in these, I assume.
Yeah, I'll say 6 weeks ago, the pictures came through and Ronaldo was in them. So this is not nothing new. I think the season was still going, to be honest, while these pictures were taken. So of course they're going to post them. Ronaldo gets all the clicks. So what the social media FC want is them clicks on Ronaldo, and especially with everything surrounding him at the moment, that's gonna get all the clicks. So the United social media team are doing their job. You can't complain there. But hey, how good's the kit?
What are your thoughts on the kit, Larry? Because I like it. Well, we discussed it last week, but just the collar, I think it's a little bit busy for me.
I'm with you, and that's the thing. If you remove the triangles from the collar, 10 out of 10 shirt. But the triangles on the collar is what's killing me. And the issue, I don't like the black stripes with the white collar. Like go white stripes, white collar, or go black collar, black stripes. I don't understand. They got 3 different colors going there.
I'll tell you what, though, if we tie this back into Ronaldo and the discussion, and okay, he's not at training, he's training in Portugal, he's not going to be on the tour, he just wants Champions League football. The more and more I think about this, though, this is exactly what the club want, Larry. This is us discussing here, Ronaldo. Like, there's 4 things happening at the club. 4 things, I don't know, how would I come up with that? So 3, 4, 5 things happening at the club at the moment. Let's say the club took dividends out last week, which wasn't deserved. A failing sort of company that taking dividends out pretty much. I know they've got the name on the front door, but pretty much stolen from the club. We're selling. Forget the name. I'm not even going to mention a name here, but we are selling our best player and our top goal scorer to a direct rival who needs a goal scorer. So we're drastically sort of killing our chances of success next season by improving the chances of a direct rival. Where what's the other thing? We're trying to convince someone to come on massive wages who potentially doesn't want to come to Man United. These things are happening. Our transfer window is failing. But yet here we are. The fans are sitting back. What are we talking about? We're talking about a new kit. We're talking about, does Ronaldo love the club or doesn't he love the club? And we're talking about Ten Hag's training drills. The club are just sitting back. They're forgetting what's in front of them. They're forgetting the actual problems. They're discussing nonsense. Here we are on YouTube discussing nonsense. But I'm just thinking we fall for it. We get played every single year. 4 big things are happening at the club at the moment, and we're discussing fucking triangles on the shirt.
Hey, seriously, you know what? I know what you guys think, because I'm sure you both play football.
The biggest dilemma.
Man, I love social media losing their mind over 1-2 touch drills. Like, that's the highlight for me. Oh, look, Erik Ten Hag is such a master. No, I do that drill with my Sunday league team.
But what do you think, Borche, on that? Like, are we missing the ball as fans? Like, and here we are, we're discussing it all. But in terms of the actual problems, like, we're discussing the wrong things. We're focused as a fan base at the wrong thing. We always say this, that a new signer will fix things. We get a shiny new Frenkie de Jong in 6 weeks. We're going to think, how good's this? But we've forgotten about sort of the real problems.
I think it comes with being a fan of any sport, to be honest, especially football. I mean, we all have. You put everything aside, yeah. You put Ronaldo aside, you put dramas aside, you put who the owners are aside. We all love this club because it's Manchester United, right? So whether the owners are here or not, whether Ronaldo's here or not, at the end of the day, we're still going to be here. We're still going to wake up early mornings and watch this team play. And if we get a chance, we'll spend that money to go fly and go watch them at Old Trafford. So I get the whole situation, and it didn't fall in line for him because they expected to get the De Jong deal over the line. Last week they were meant to release the kits, and they moved them to the 8th. So there was a delay in kits because they wanted to get a player in. Obviously, not even Eriksen is in the kit or been even announced yet. Obviously, there's the thing with the lawyers are looking over the contract, obviously with the heart condition and all that sort of stuff. So it's getting looked over, but it's just one of them things. I mean, United, it's always a talking point with United, no matter what it is. Like you said, triangles on a collar. It is crazy, but I think that's just the role we have as football fans. If there's nothing to talk about, we just got to cherry pick at something, I guess.
His point there, Larry, in regards to Christian Eriksen, we'll touch on that before we get into Lissandro Martinez. In terms of, it does look like potentially it's not a stumbling block, but obviously a bit of a issue in terms of just needs a bit of ironing out in regards to his contract, whether that be medically or financially, who knows. I'm just thinking Simon Stone came out and said he's not going to be flying out today, obviously, because he's not a Man United player. But there is a bit of a rumour. Again, how much can you sort of weigh up on the rumour? But that he will join the preseason tour, and fingers crossed that will be in Melbourne. Do you think that will be the case, or do you think if someone's not making this trip, they're not going to fly out to Australia for a couple of games, they'll stay in Europe and get their training done there?
No, I think you have to be with the team. It makes common sense. I mean, you can train in Europe, but ultimately it's about the team cohesion. And that's going to be the biggest thing. I mean, we saw it when our friend Nick come in. Do you guys remember? We were talking about gegenpressing, that is the god of gegenpress, and he taught Klopp and he taught Tuchel, and he's going to...
Being around the team, I don't even think it's that in regards to being around the team, which is all 100% true. But I think these part of pre-seasons, I remember when I used to play going away for pre-season, it's the off-field stuff. It's getting to know. It's team bonding. It's those type of sessions. It's sort of having the new players have to stand up and sing on the table in the hotel sort of thing. I think those are the important parts of pre-season, which are often overlooked by fans.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's the enjoyable bit. You want that team camaraderie. When you're close as teammates, it's easier to play together on the pitch. You know what I mean? And I just think if you're a player who, mind you, why are we talking like we're Brentford with all due respect or Leeds? Like this is Manchester United. Sure, we're in the Europa League. We're not where we want to be. But it's a big club in the when you're talking about the context of world football. Why are we talking as if being at Man United's a chore? You don't want to train for Manchester United. You don't want to play for Manchester United. You're kidding me. You should be wherever the Manchester United are. There are probably 2 or 3 other clubs in world football that you could argue, all right, maybe I'd rather play for them because the weather's a little bit better. One of the biggest football clubs in the world, irrespective of where we sit.
Why has that changed, Borche? Because Larry's right in saying that it's stupid. We can't comprehend that as a fan. Why wouldn't you want to? But there is this feel, and there is that culture where even the players who love the club, you do sometimes get that feel. Then a new player comes in, he'll be so excited. I'm not going to accuse Malaysia of this, but he's so excited to be here. In 6 months' time, we might have in the same debate. Where's his work rate? Where's his work ethic? I hope that's not the case. But does this come from a lack of success, or is this the lack of ambition in terms of culture is sort of set in, and whoever comes is sort of naturally sort of gets infected with it? Or does it just come down simply just we haven't been that good at the moment?
I think it's a combination of all of them, to be honest. I mean, Larry's right. From what we see on the pitch, it does look like it's a chore. And especially the comments that came out about training at 5 o'clock, or, they don't want to drive home in the dark. Like shit like that is just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, and Larry, you've said it before. Anyone, when that story was breaking, then anyone would want to play for this club. Like even us as fans, like if anyone with the opportunity will take it, and these guys that just can't be bothered because they're not winning, or you guys are playing. You guys you guys threw the manager under the bus. We didn't as fans. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them things. I think it's definitely a combination of all of them, and plus, not being successful on the pitch, not winning trophies. But at the end of the day, and this is one thing I can't stand, is every player that signs, especially the bigger players. When Bruno came, one of the main things he was saying is, I want to come here to win trophies. The fans deserve trophies. Sancho said the same thing. Ronaldo said the same thing. Some of the past players said the same thing. Cavani, all these guys. Well, you'll go on the field and show us instead of all these apology tweets and all that sort of stuff. So it is a combination of both here. But Larry's right. It feels like it's a chore, and the performances you can't argue with that. It's absolutely true. They're just rocking up and think, oh, do I really want to be here? And that's the question you got to ask. Like, and with Eriksen, yeah, I think Larry's right again. There, he's got to be part of the team. You got to, do the travel. Maybe the only international traveling you might be doing this season. Some of these players, you know what I mean, unless they're going to Azerbaijan. But like, it's good. Why not go on a little preseason tour? Go around the world. I mean, it's not a big deal. How long is the tour? 1 or 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks max? 3 weeks? So. Yeah, look, I think they jump on a plane because even when they came to Sydney and Perth last time, I know Rooney didn't travel, RVP didn't travel, but they came later on. Pogba as well, they came later on. Lukaku was the only one he wanted to leave, so he's training in Anderlecht. But other than that, I don't see what the issue is for them not to join the team on the tour.
On that point,
even Ronaldo, I think if he's not sold by the time the tour is done, I think he should get on a plane, and he should be the club should be saying, no, we don't care. You're contracted to all these things in terms of where any sort of games. If you're available, you're on the plane or on the bus. You're there on the to the game, preseason tour, wherever. It doesn't really matter. So if Ronaldo is available for any of these preseason tour games, they definitely should be on that plane. And now I don't know what the issues are there because. Everyone's talking about him leaving and all that, but no one's mentioning these family issues or something with the family that's going on. Hopefully everything's all right. Yeah. It's just funny how nothing's mentioned on that side, and he's training at Sporting Lisbon. So,
Rio Ferdinand came out and mentioned something regarding the family. So, look, unfortunately, it does seem there's potentially something there. To what extent? Who knows? Be a fingers crossed all is okay. But on that point, Larry Borche makes there in regards to you touching earlier in regards to it feels like a chore to play for Man United, unfortunately. What's the fix to that? Is the fix when it's simply down to Erik ten Hag that he is going to change the culture, change the mentality? Is that 3 points on the weekend fixes that? What is the fix? Or
It's three things. It's Eric Ten Hag, naturally. If the coach sets a good environment and a good culture and a good environment and a place where the players feel like they're improving. Results, because when you're winning, there's never anything wrong, naturally. And number three is you need to identify the poor players and simply shift them out of the club. You can't reset a culture while ever you've got people there who feed negative connotations in there. Just doesn't happen. If you got players there who aren't capable of setting the standard that or aren't matching the standard that you're setting as the manager, you need to ship them out. It's as simple as that.
Are they gone, Harry? Them players that you're talking about, do you think they have left already? Have they left the club, or you think there's still some hanging about?
I think a lot of the leaks have left, but I still think that there are some players who aren't up to the standard. Some of the comments Harry Maguire made as a captain last season, baffling, like not good enough.
On that, Larry, you say the leaks, and that was my next point I want to sort of direct towards you. This leaks is here. We say a leak has come out around Eric Ten Hag saying he's going to get rid of everyone who sort of leaks stuff to the press. I'm thinking, how much weight do we put on this? Because is that going to stop a journalist just simply writing a story? I'll pick up my phone as a journalist and say, players unhappy with Eric Ten Hag's training. Just make it true. My inside source says this. Doesn't mean anyone's leaked that to the press. It's not going to stop so-called leaks coming out. I think you can tell which one's true, but when they start talking about players are unhappy with the colour of the dining room tables, it's not going to stop journalists writing absolute nonsense like that. So these leaks, supposed leaks, are always going to be there. So I'm just thinking, how can Eric Ten Hag sort of differentiate what's real and what's not?
Well, there's leaks that come from the club, the setup, like something like a transfer. Then there's leaks like the players aren't happy that there's 2 training sessions. The players aren't happy that they're going home after dark.
But a journalist is going to write that no matter what, because they know fans are going to lap it up, even if it's not. No one said that. They're going to say
those stories weren't there 2 seasons ago. They simply weren't there. So
I think you can tell as well, because some of the leaks and the players that weren't happy it showed on the pitch. And you could tell which players were unhappy, and the agents come out, so you already know that's already a sign. Or the family members, Jesse Lingard's brother was coming out, so you can't. These kind of things, they always come out one way or another. But yeah, I don't know. I think you're right with the Harry Maguire thing. I don't think we're going to get rid of him though. Maybe with Ronaldo not being here, with all that pressure that he brings on everyone in terms of what he expects of his teammates, maybe that goes if Ronaldo goes as well. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest. I know a lot of people hate Maguire, but you can't take the fact that he was in a team of the season in the Euros and he didn't do too bad when he first came to United. So there might be a player there. Might be. I personally don't want him in the squad, to be honest. He can happily sit on the bench, but it's all about what the culture that the manager brings in, his ideas, the philosophies. They got to enjoy the football. If they're not enjoying the football like it was under Van Gaal, under Mourinho, then you're gonna have not interested in trainings, and that's when all the uproar is gonna happen in the training, on the training pitch, and definitely shows on the pitch.
Portia, my counter argument to the Harry Maguire point is, he has ability. He's a Premier League footballer. Like when people say he's a League 2 player, or you take these extreme points like Van der Vaart saying, I've seen players in League 2 who are better than Harry Maguire. Like that's nonsense, right? But I think if you look at United's first season when Harry Maguire came in, I've had this debate with Tom before. The key difference is United were a counter-attacking side. When you're a centre-back who lacks pace and you're good in the air, counter-attacking is the perfect system for you. You can simply park yourself in your box and clear your head, get your head on the end of everything. In terms of one-on-one defending, it's just last-ditch efforts. When we're playing on the halfway line, mate, you can see it. He's backing off the second he's one-on-one because he's scared. He knows he can get turned at any time. That's the problem with Harry Maguire. I think in the right system, he can fly. But United never be a counter-attacking side.
Great. Yeah, great point. I actually missed that. You're right, because we can even say the same for Wan-Bissaka. When
100%.
Wan-Bissaka, when we're on the counter attack and when we're not really on the ball, that's when he performs. You saw against PSG. PSG had most of the possession. Wan-Bissaka had his best game, kept Mbappe out of the game for most of it. Once we're in a position, Ten Hag comes in, wants to do his whole playing out from the back possession base, and that's when players like Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka get found out. But actually, it's a good point. Get him out. Maguire out. Get the
Well,
hashtag.
I'll move on to the one player who could potentially replace him in Lissandro Martinez. Gilbert brings up here, we need Martinez more than anybody. And I'll just bring up this point just off topic, but a little bit earlier, the Frenkie de Jong discussion, but Ian with a shout. If you want de Jong, cancel your Spotify so Barca go broke. I'm still waiting for those headphones to go over the new camp because it's actually called, and look, we're going to laugh, but in Old Trafford will probably be something like this in 10 years' time. But what's it called? The Spotify new camp or something these days. But Adam also brings it up. If we do sign Martinez, where do you see him playing as he is a left centre back? So is Maguire for some reason. So I just can't see Maguire being dropped, even though I think he should have been dropped a while ago. So Larry, just on this, and look, we're not going to proclaim to be sort of Lissandro Martinez sort of experts. I'm sure you've done your YouTube scouting on him like me. He looks quality. Obviously, any player on YouTube, but obviously Ten Hag likes him. He's obviously done very well at Ajax. So yes, let's sit here and say what a quality player is. Of course, from what you've seen, you don't see, and this is not to say he won't be fantastic, but I can tell without even mentioning it to you, and you haven't mentioned anything to me, I can tell you're thinking he's not a Premier League centre-back.
No, he's not. He's definitely not a Premier League centre-back. And I've got serious concerns about playing him as a defensive midfielder, given he hasn't fulfilled that position for well over 12 months. It's lazy. United are meant to have elite scouts, elite recruitment departments. And it seems our recruitment is, did you play for Ajax or do you play for Ajax? Or are you Dutch? Or did you play for Ten Hag or in the same league as Ten Hag? Can we sign anyone else outside of the Dutch league? Is it possible? Like, with all due respect to Martinez, now obviously if United sign him, I'll support him and I hope he kills it. But just you're looking at him like, yeah, of course he's a quality footballer. He's a professional. He's going to look good on the ball. I can find. Do you remember when Harry Maguire tweeted out himself pinging the ball across the pitch? Who was that against? Brentford. Embarrassing, right?
It was Norwich at home.
Norwich at home, like embarrassing, right? If you're a professional footballer, yeah, I'm sure you can find YouTube compilations of a player looking good on the ball. It's possible.
On that, Borche, sort of following on from what Larry mentions there, and Red Army Germany here saying also, I'm sure Ten Hag will use Martinez as a defensive midfielder in front of the defenders. But just on that point Larry makes there, and we talk about here, okay, is he a centre-back? Is he suited to the game? My first instinct will say, no, he's not suited to a centre-back in the English Premier League. But then I look at it and think, well, we have in our mind the English Premier League as this game from the early 1990s and the early 2000s where every team played two big strikers up and you sort of lump the ball up to the strikers. You take Burnley out of the Premier League now. Are there any real strikers or teams that really play that way? Like in terms of, okay, Everton got Calvert-Lewin, they can lump the ball up to him on occasions. But on average, maybe there's 20 teams who do it. Liverpool are actually very direct, actually, to be fair to them. But is there a team that sort of, or a threat in the Premier League of teams lumping the ball into the box? Or could it be sort of a move into the future? But it doesn't matter what size centre-backs you have.
Yeah, it's kind of, the football's kind of changed throughout the years. You don't really see that much. You still see the balls over the top. Leicester do it probably the most with Liverpool, but Leicester, they'll be doing it for years. When they won the league, lump it not so much into the box, but lump it over the top and let Vardy run onto it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's not many teams that actually do that. But in saying that, with the defenders that we do have, how many times have we conceded from a set piece the last couple of seasons? Pretty much every time. Every time we've conceded from a set piece. So that's a little bit of a worry. On terms of the scouting and stuff, this is where I think the club went 10 steps back by getting rid of. When I say get rid of, we can say whatever we want, but Ralph Radnick, I think he should have stayed and been upstairs. Some of the players that he identified prior to him leaving, they're all gone. He wanted Alvarez from River Plate. That's at that Man City now.
He looks a player.
Yeah, he's a decent player too. What's his name? Who's the one at Liverpool? Diaz at Liverpool. And there's a few other players, even like Darwin Núñez. He's not someone who Ten Hag wanted him. He's not from the Dutch league, so there is actually players out there that not from the Ajax or Dutch team that they're interested in. I just think for this season, Ten Hag is whatever if the budget it really is what they say it was, 120 mil. He's probably thinking, let me get the players that I know that we can maybe compete in the Europa League. Europa League is another way into the Champions League. Plus, it's a trophy. and then that could be the way forward. For me personally, I don't mind. I couldn't care less what we end up 10th, 11th, 12th in the league, but we do need to win that Europa League. And I think maybe with this team and the players that he's bringing in, I think they can do a job in a knockout competition, especially in the Europa League. You throw all the eggs in that basket, use the Premier League to kind of set yourself up for the next season. That's where you go out, and now you start getting, because you got Champions League as well, you start getting the slightly bigger names, not your massive marquees like we have in the past, but almost to that caliber, to that quality. And another issue that I have with the players at the moment that are coming in, not that they're bad players, is, are they starting players? The problem is our starting 11. Now, Malacia, yeah, he could be good. We don't know, right? But is he a starting player? Where are the issues in this squad? We need to get first team is starting 11 players, not Martinez. He could start at centre back. He could start.
What's the next point I want to bring to Larry in regards to that starting team and what is a first team player, what's a backup player? But just on the last point on Lissandro Martinez, Akil here sort of bringing up my, not fears, but my kind of concerns in regard to discussing his height. People overrate height of the centre back so much. He handled the so-called tall physical strikers like Haaland and Nunes brilliantly last year in the Champions League. Height doesn't make you a good centre back. Look at Maguire. It's an interesting shout, and I'm sure that is the way the game's going. I'm sure everyone who has YouTube Martinez has seen it's like a 3-minute compilation of him dealing with Erling Haaland when Ajax did play Dortmund.
But Tom, even with that, right? Like with Haaland, how's Haaland scoring when the ball goes into the box or there's a through ball? So this is where if you look at Dortmund and the goals that he was scoring, it's a ball over the top, it's a through ball between the lines. So here, Ten Hag off the ball. How what's the shape? Close every single channel, close all the channels so there's no passing lanes available to make that pass. You don't even have to double up on him. Have one player roaming. That's where we need to talk about a defensive midfielder, someone that can do that dog work. Maybe if Ronaldo wants to go to Chelsea, you give us Kante for that season. We'll give
I'm starting to come around to that idea. I don't know why I don't want Ronaldo to leave to Chelsea, but I'm starting to see positives in that.
They got to start thinking smart. If you can get away with it for one season, we got players that can score goals. Let's be real. We got players that can score goals. In a Ten Hag system, there is a lot of goals. They scored how many goals? I know you're saying it's in the Dutch league, but look in the Champions League, 4-0 and 4-1 to Borussia Dortmund. So these are the things. So these are the results you got to look at. So that's the thing. You want to hold these players off, even if Martinez comes in as a centre back. Close them channels, the left and right backs. Don't let that cross come in, and that's where the issues are with Shaw and obviously Delo and Wan-Bissaka. But can Ten Hag, as a manager as well, improve these players? That's what I want to see. Improve these players. Get some of the youth players in that hopefully we see on the tour. Your Garnachos and all these sort of players. Bring him in. So some of the younger players, can they do the job? Hannibals and Iqbals and all. Get these guys in. What can they do?
Adam with an interesting shout here, and not wrong. Last defender to win the Ballon d'Or was under 6 foot, and Fabio Cannavaro. That was a lifetime ago, but not wrong in that. And just Larry, in regards to the squad and what Borcho mentions there, in regards to Erik Ten Hag, we've had this discussion before in terms of it's good during the Europa League because we can play the young players, but then you say ultimately, Man United, if you got a player on big wages on a big transfer fee, there is a pressure to always play your first team. I'm just thinking what we're talking about. Okay, Christian Eriksen, is he coming in? Is he going to be first choice? It's Malacia. Is he going to be backup? Where are they going to get their games? What do you see in terms of the noise? And there haven't been too many noises, especially from Ten Hag. But what the pieces we do have at the moment in regards to transfer rumours and who's still at the club, how do you see him approaching this Europa League? Now, obviously, the approach is to go and win it. But in terms of this group stage coming up, does he have a Premier League team and a Europa League team, or he's just got his one strongest team? How do you potentially see it lining up this season?
I think he'll treat it as a squad. I mean, he has to. I mean, I think fans are the only ones who ever have this mentality of it's the Europa League, play the kids. I can't see it. Ten Hag's going to be thinking, how do I get this side back into the Champions League? And ultimately, that's what the Europa is. It gives United an alternative route into the Champions League. And ultimately, if you can win a trophy getting there, it's more attractive than a top 4 trophy, isn't it? That's the reality of it. I mean, yes, if a kid's good enough, play him. But we can't treat the Europa League like it's just some second-rate competition. It's not the John Payne Trophy.
Now, Jose Mourinho was a master, okay? So you're completely right, and look, I agree. But Mourinho was that master. Here we are, Ajax. And obviously Frankie de Jong, was Frankie de Jong, Donny van der Beek was in that squad. Was Frankie de Jong in the squad in?
I think Donny came on.
Yeah, I remember Donny van der Beek was involved. But here we are. That Jose Mourinho sort of played that, sort of gave up on the Premier League the last 6 weeks, put all the eggs in the basket. Very risky, but ultimately did pay off. But I'm thinking, to what extent is Larry right there, Borche, in saying go and win the Europa League? Like, what happens if we burn our squad out and get knocked out in penalties on the semi-final, or we go all the way to the final, we finish 7th in the league, we'll put all our eggs in the Europa League basket when we get done by a stupid VAR call in the final? To what extent, how important is that use of the squad?
It's, in my opinion, is as long as the football that we're playing in the Premier League is improving. If it's the same thing as we saw this season, then yeah, there's no progression. We're not improving. You know what I mean? It is going to be it's going to be tough to let alone win the Premier League, to get in that top 4 with Liverpool and City already pretty much got a solid team, with Spurs, if you want to call it, strengthening and maybe getting better, and under Conte as well, see what they can do. Teams like Arsenal, they will slightly improve. Chelsea as well. So it is going to be a bigger battle. And some of the other teams, let's be honest, like your Newcastles and all that, they're not going to be like pushovers like they were in the last couple of seasons. In the Europa League, you can't play all the kids. We've seen it against young boys. We've seen it against, was it Partizan Belgrade a couple of years ago? We had all the kids down. It was a 0-0 draw or something. Or we lost 1-0.
Remember Astana and Dylan Levitt just got his move to Dundee.
Yeah, and all, like he had Chong playing and Gomez and all that. Like, let's be honest, when it's men against boys, like us, us 3 here, if we go up against MPL under 16s team, we're probably gonna win it, right? We're probably gonna win it because it's just the physicality is a bit too much, and the teams that you're playing in these competitions, they're gonna be hard as nails. These guys, so they're gonna knock you off the ball. They don't care to get sent off. The referees are a bit dodgy. They miss a lot of things as well, and like you were saying before, I think Tong, you were saying before about at the back end of last season is, do we just play these kids and whatever the result is, it's the result. But then that could have a bigger effect on the younger players. You're getting beat 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. On top of that, you're getting battered physically. I just think you bleed them in. You can. I mean, Elanga was that guy for us this season in terms of guy from the youth, had to fill in a position, maybe got a bit more game time than expected, but he can maybe this season coming, he can show his qualities and got a bit more experience. Get these 1 or 2 players in. I wouldn't say starting lineup, but throw him on 60th minute, 70th minute, get him in. But that's the dice you have to roll. Is you put all your eggs in that one basket and still play for the Premier League, obviously, still push. I would love to see us confirm top 4 and then go play in the Europa League final. Makes a bit less pressure. Last time we didn't make it, so there was more pressure to win in the final, but it all depends. For me personally, I just want to see better football, and if we see better football this season, you start attracting better players, and then the season after that, let's go for the league. Let's push on, not just challenge, or go there all the way to the last day of the season.
Well, you mentioned there, and we'll start to wrap up this sort of last topic. Did start on Lissandro Martinez from Ajax. Now, Larry, good friend, or I wouldn't say good friend, but old friend of the podcast, Duncan Castles, came out probably yesterday and sort of tied this deal in regards to Antony and Martinez together, saying Ajax won. I forget what the figure was. Maybe someone in the comments could correct me. About 120 million for both players. Now, can you actually go to a club and sort of put a package deal together? I'm not sure how that actually works, but in terms of that's what both players would sort of end up costing. And point here before Anthony would need De Jong as soon as possible. But just on the Anthony one, is that a real thing where you just discussed earlier in terms of going to Ajax and sort of raiding all those players, all the Dutch players? Can Man United sort of, after taking the manager, after pursuing Hurricane Timber for a few weeks, go in and here we are in the middle of a Martinez battle, also add another player on top of that? Not saying is this something that adds to the team? Is this something Erik ten Hag should be doing? I'm saying business-wise, will Ajax allow this?
For me, I wouldn't even be entertaining the Antony one. Again, I think this is just lazy YouTube excitement. Has anyone watched Antony play? He's good. He is good. But is he Manchester United caliber? I think jury's out. The other thing is £60 million. I mean, Richarlison, where did he come from initially before Watford? Was he in the Dutch league? He was
Wouldn't shock
cheap.
me.
He
French,
was
I think French
substantially
league.
cheaper.
I
Yeah,
think he came from the French league.
French league. He was substantially cheaper. And if you think of what Richarlison has achieved in his career, what's he going for? 50 million to Everton, to Spurs from Everton. Now that's a more solid bet. Premier League proven player. What has Anthony really proved in Ajax? With all due, and that's the thing. They're quoting us £60 million. I just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Apparently, Man United put in a $51 million. I'm not sure euros or pounds. I think it might be euros bidding already. So there's a bid. They're saying Man United have put that in, and I think they're gonna. There's a sell-on clause. So Sao Paulo gets a percentage of that, 12 million, 15 million. So that's why they want to raise the price. But to be honest, yeah, I'm with you, Larry. I do watch a bit of the Dutch league myself. He is a good player, but is at the moment I think our front line is, I wouldn't say stacked so much with quality, but I think there's players there that can already do the job. And if you're going to pay that much money, just go get Rafinha. I know he's in a bit of a saga himself. I'd rather get Rafinha in that's so-called proven in the Premier League. He's another exciting player to watch, and I think he can do the job. And he's someone that's probably only going to want to stay for 1 or 2 years, can do the job, and then leave to Barcelona. You know what I'm saying? So with Anthony, if it doesn't work out, then you're struggling again. At least Rafinha wants out the door. So at least
I'd get a Dama Traore if it's about just getting a right winger in. Like if I'm
don't
choosing
say that.
Anthony,
Ace
Traore's good, man. He went to Barcelona. He went to Barcelona and he did well.
Hasn't he just left Barcelona?
No,
Yeah,
He's
he
back
was
at
on
Wolves.
loan.
Oh, was he on loan? I thought he went there on a permanent deal. No, fair play to Wolves for getting that over the line. But here's a question for you, Larry.
Scouting department. We've got to get him in the scouting department. He's pulling these players out. Why not? Why not? A bit of fantasy football.
Well, you don't need a scout for this one, Larry. Just a question here. And I wouldn't say we've disagreed or butted heads on this, but maybe sometimes a little bit of a different opinion on this one. You just mentioned your thoughts on Anthony there. Dybala, who you have sort of concerns over. Choose one.
What, Dybala or Anthony? Dybala's not a right winger, though.
You can play him in that role. Yeah, again, I'm not saying he's perfect. It's a little bit.
Let's just play Harry Maguire there. We can play him in that role.
Harry Maguire going forward. Where was that run he did last year or the season before? When he gets on a gallop, he's very hard to stop. He doesn't have any skill, but he's got that power and sort of.
He's running in deep sand.
There was one run where he went past like 7. I think it must have been in his first season. It was like found himself on the left wing and just went past every single player.
Oh, the one where he scored from range. Raumir or something?
No, that was a goal against Tranmere. But no, there was another run. It must have been around that time in his first season. Yeah, I'm not saying play Harry Maguire left wing.
There was a few against Arsenal when Oli got sacked and there was Carrick at the wheel.
I'm not. It's something he's got in his log. He does it quite well when strikers closing down. He's got that.
You can take a penalty. So if Ronaldo leaves, we're sweet.
Maguire for penalties. I'm all for that.
Well, Bruno will be back on. At least it won't be a penalty discussion.
There, Tom, like that comment there saying right at the bottom, the Bala's willing to take a pay cut and take 100K. That was an interesting one too. I'm not sure.
Did say that.
It is, but just bring him in. Let's play him anywhere. Wing back. Defensive mid. Can he play that role? Why not? Might as well. They need
players like that.
They need
players like that can play him in midfield. Play him in the number 6 role. Those players, in terms of the main trait, and it's our biggest criticism of Scott McTominay. Here I am. I'm not saying play Dybala in the number 6, but what I'm saying is a player like Dybala, a player like David Silva, a player like Juan Mata. Here, all these diminutive little left footers. The criticism we have of our 2 number 6s is how comfortable they are going to get the ball off our back 4. The biggest trait you need is that bravery to go and collect the ball and have that touch and able to turn and play a pass. Paulo Dybala can do that. I'm sure he can do that far more comfortable than a Scott McTominay or Fred. And here I am. I'm not saying play Dybala in the number 6 for Man United, but that is the type of quality you do need to look for in a footballer. And we definitely do need that person in that number 6 role. Larry, there is a rumor. This is not going to please you. Emad, who might be watching the live chat, has sort of awoken me to it. Talk to squad numbers. Bruno's gone to wait. You can have your 2 cents with. This hasn't been confirmed, and it's only a little bit of a rumor. Scott McTominay, number 6. Would you be buying the shirt?
McTominay getting the 6.
It's just a rumor. Calm down. Just a rumor. Just a rumor.
Oh, fuck me.
Which means he's staying, spewing.
I mean, look.
It's better than Pogba in the 6.
He's not United. He's not United level, is he? McTominay. He's not. I mean, I know Bosch agrees with me because Bosch actually, understands.
Give it a week until he bursts through Melbourne Victory's midfield and places 2 in the bottom corner.
Yeah, that's it. Because he runs through fodder because that's his level. With all due respect.
If we could have some other players who do it, that would be appreciated.
If he
His
doesn't do
best
that,
game in a United shirt was against Leeds. I could
Actually,
have a
to
good
be
game
fair,
against Leeds.
his best game was against Barcelona. Best player on the, which is crazy. Which was crazy to think about it. He
he's
was.
Barcelona. Which
But
game
we
was
lost.
that?
We lost 1-0 at Old Trafford. He ran the show.
So
Weirdly, we did lose the game. I think Messi scored the goal, and then Ashley Young started doing Cruyff turns in the return leg.
turns.
But the Old Trafford leg was one of McTominay's. But again, that's a debate for another day. Larry will change his tune after a goal next week.
I'm convinced we're not getting De Jong because McTominay is getting the 6. That'll do me.
Yeah, but De Jong's 21. Cavani's gone. Numbers available.
Maybe.
And Bruno number 8. So hey, Nicky Butt. Well, it must be.
Bruno in the 8. Now that's something I can talk about. Looking good.
Well, Rob here, I don't want Scott in the number 6 role, in the number 6 shirt. I can accept. But
better than the last mercenary who wore the number 6. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's what it comes down to. Here we are. You posed the question to me, on the last pod, in terms of saying, how do you balance that in terms of quality over a player wanting to play for the badge? Does Ronaldo have a love for the club, or do you want someone who does want to play for the club? It comes down to that so often. So many debates sort of do fall back on that sword. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't like the answer, but you have to be true to yourself sometimes.
If McTominay played 15 to 20 games a season, I don't think we'd be as outraged. I don't think the outrage around him would be there. The problem is...
that's what I'm saying. He shouldn't... Boche, my defence is Scott McTominay. He shouldn't be starting for Man United. Yeah. I'm just defending him from in my opinion, the over-the-top criticism and abuse. I think perfectly he should be that squad player who comes in for the Europa League a couple of times a season. Or plays an FA Cup game.
Yeah, but not even in the 6th role.
No, of course not the 6th role. But the only reason he plays there is because the managers don't trust anyone else to do it, because there's 10 times worse at doing it than him.
For Scotland, they don't even trust him. They put him in the centre-back for Scotland.
That's better management by Scotland.
So if David De Gea has an off game, McTominay, step up.
Because I think he'd be a great centre-back. I've said this before. I think he'd be a great centre-back.
But that comes down to management. That's where the Scottish manager has sort of notified or seen something and rectified it and said, I'm not going to play a player who can't do a job there for me. I'll play him somewhere else where he can do a job. Now, I'm not saying he can be a centre-back, but Larry said he's potentially a better centre-back than a number 6.
I think he could. I think you look at the attributes, he'd be a great defender. I mean, it comes down to can he read the game? That would be the bit I'd question.
I think he's better.
You look at the attributes, he's got everything.
He's better going forward.
I think he's better old-fashioned central midfielder. Get forward into the box, use his physicality. But again, my defence is do it 10 times a season. Do it 15 times a season if there's an injury. He shouldn't be relied upon, but he's relied upon because of all the other mistakes. He's relied upon because the other players around him don't put the effort in. That is why we do sort of pin all these, not these hopes on Scott McTominay, but all this pressure. And ultimately it's unfair because, Larry, if I throw you into Man United's midfield, I can't expect a Paul Scholes performance. But as soon as you don't, do I have a right to crucify you for not
as good as Paul Scholes?
I can leave that up to the live chat. Maybe we can grab a ball down in Melbourne. Borche can be the chief scout for the day. But on that, obviously, a couple of days until we are down in Melbourne, and put Larry's touch to the test. Just about wraps up the Friday night pint. Good to have the lads on for a bit of a chat, and everyone in the live chat interacting. Plenty of different opinions out there, which is always good, especially to finish off the show. McTominay never disappoints in dividing opinion. But hopefully everyone did enjoy it. Make sure you do leave a like on the video. Make sure you follow Borche at the Football Capital. Larry, make sure you keeping well and keeping fit, and make sure you get to the airport in one piece for that flight.
Yeah, Tom, see you in 5 days, my friend.
It is. I'm not counting the days, but is it 5?
When are you in Melbourne?
I think Monday. I'll be there Monday.
Oh,
I'm only going for the Palace game.
Oh, Monday week, right? Okay.
Yeah. I'm only going for the Palace game. You never know. You guys might see Nani unveil doing the Rafael Varane just on the pitch coming out. That would be mad if they do that, because I've just read now he's been released from that. What was that team he's at in Italy? They got relegated.
Yeah, I saw the club with the kit, the famous kit.
The jersey, everyone loves the kit. He just got released from there, so now I think the deal can officially be announced and all that. But
it would be a great marketing thing for them in terms of Man United in town. Man United play for Australian football. Anyone in the live chat who isn't aware, Australian football isn't sort of thriving at the moment. So as soon as we get someone who's played for Man United and Man United themselves in town, it is a huge thing. And Nani is on the verge of signing for one of the big clubs here in Australia, Melbourne Victory. So,
Cesc Fabregas coming as well. Big rumours of him coming, but he's MacArthur, so he's gonna get a shock when he comes to that cow paddock down in Campbelltown Stadium. So
well, there's another Man United. Dwight York is the MacArthur manager.
Yeah.
There'll be a bit of a link up. Cesc Fabregas and Dwight York.
They train at the Fairfield Showground where the markets are. So you gotta love it. You gotta love how football works out for everyone, eh?
Yeah.
No, but I do appreciate everyone in the live chat. I see a heap of comments coming in, especially around Anthony and De Jong, and I appreciate all the interaction. Apologies if I didn't get to any of your comments, but I'm sure, who knows, we'll be live maybe 20 minutes when Martinez bid's accepted or something that happens around Anthony, who knows. So make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell so when we do go live, you get notified. And hopefully we chat to you soon with some breaking news. But until then, have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll chat to you shortly. Cheers.
Take it easy.
Cheers.